All right, you ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right, so Dwayne Reed. So Dwayne and I, we go back since I think like middle school.
Elementary.
Yeah, elementary. Oh yeah, Nassau.
Third grade, yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Mhm.
We almost all my life. That's crazy. So could you explain to people what it is you do, why you decided to do it, um, and basically, yeah, just so we'll focus on those two questions first. So, what is it you do, and what made you decide to do it?
All right, so I'm Dwayne the Credit Man. Pretty much my main occupation is I do credit. I started a credit repair company called Refinancial Solutions. So pretty much what we do is help people to get in position as far as buying homes, cars. Let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. We help people get in position to be homeowners, buy cars, start businesses, pretty much anything that they can do with their credit. We pretty much teach them how to do that. I've been doing this for probably over 15 years now. And the reason why I started doing it was because, well, for one, I kind of bumped into it, right? So I didn't just get up one day and say, hey, I'm gonna save the world by fixing credit. Pretty much what happened was I kind of went through my own little credit, I went through a hard time with my own credit, and I realized how hard life was when I was younger in my early 20s. I couldn't get a car. I got denied a job because of my credit. Just a lot of things that kept going wrong. So as I started discovering all these things about credit, I started learning about credit, how credit works. I ended up reading a book about credit, and I kind of just, you know, pretty much got a grasp of and how to grasping how to understand it and how to utilize it so it could work for me. So then I ended up fixing credit wasn't even, on the radar at the time. It was just kind of figuring out how this thing works, right? And then I got my credit right, and I met my mother came to me and told me that she couldn't get approved for auto loan, and I asked her what her issue was, and she said it was the credit. I was like, oh, I could fix that for you. Mind you, I'm like 20, 21. And she was like, what you know about credit? And I was like, oh, well, let me show you. So I ended up fixing her credit, and 2 or 3 months later, she went and bought I believe it was a Ford Windstar she bought, not the Windstar. It was a green van. I can't remember exactly what minivan she bought, but she went and bought a minivan. And then my stepfather ended up coming up to me, like, hey, I heard you know how to fix credit. So that's pretty much how the whole thing started into what it is today. I met some key people along the way that kind of helped me to get to the next level to where I am today. But I started realizing that a lot of people, there was a lot of false narratives about credit. A lot of people thought credit was a setup, a scam. So my life goal was to try to teach as many people about credit and how to utilize it, how to take advantage of it. Because you always hear people talk about money, right? Millionaires do this, millionaires do that. But what they don't tell you is millionaires don't spend their own money on businesses, on nothing. They spend other people's money, OPM. So anytime they want to start a business, they will get a loan. How do they get a loan? They use their credit. If they want to buy a car, they use their credit. If they want to buy a home, they use their credit. They use their credit for everything. This is why they maintain, this is why they're millionaires, right? Because they use their credit for everything everything around them is usually financed. And another key thing what people don't realize is a lot of these things are either in business names or they're financed because if they do run into money problems, they can just file bankruptcy and walk away from it. So they understand how all these things work. And I hate to use Trump as an example, but Trump is a prime example of how to use the system and keep your money in your pocket, right? So we on that Trump, people make fun of Trump because he filed bankruptcy 4 times. What people don't realize is when you file business bankruptcy, your stock actually goes up because you're eliminating debt. So it was actually a smart move to do, but there's just certain things that in our community that we really don't know about. So my goal is to try to educate as much people as possible on credit and also help them to, get in position to do these great things with their credit.
Okay, so what's the number one thing that you think people don't understand about credit?
Um, the number one thing that people don't understand, well, everybody knows to pay their bills on time. People don't realize.
Not everybody.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
They
Like
know it,
they,
but they may know it, but they don't do it.
yeah, they don't do it. They know they don't do it. I think one thing that people don't realize is credit is something that you can't just fix in 2 weeks. People usually come to me and they say, "Hey, I leased a car 3 years ago. My credit is trash now, but I'm able to. I want to lease. I want to lease a new car." I'm like, "Okay, cool. When is your lease up? Oh, it's up in 2 months." I'm like, "You had 3 years to get your credit right. You waiting to the last minute." So I think people don't realize that credit is not something that can be fixed overnight. It takes a little while to fix it based on what's going on. I mean, I've had people that in 2 weeks they're good, but that's not most people. Most people takes 6 to 8 months to get back on track. So I think people need to realize how important credit is. Fix it before you need it. What's the how the saying go? If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. It's the same thing. A lot of people wait until something goes bad and they need their credit before they want to fix it. That's the worst time to want to fix your credit. Fix your credit when everything is good. When you have an apartment, when you have a car outside, when you have money coming in, you have a job. That's when you should fix your credit. Because when things start to go downhill, you can lean on your credit. And my prime example of that is this. When COVID, when the shutdown first happened, it took 2 weeks for these major billion-dollar corporations to start laying people off. 2 weeks. You know why? Because they run their credit, they run their businesses based off credit lines. They don't take money that they make and put it back into the business. They have a credit line that they just run that money through. They use the money, pay it back, use the money, pay it back, use the money, pay it back. So when that credit line stops, guess what happens? They got to start laying people off now because they don't have that money coming in no more. So people don't realize how important credit is and how many people actually use it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because a point that you made before is now a lot of jobs, especially like government jobs, they look into your credit.
Yep. They want to see that credit report to make sure, because this is the link that they put to it. If you have bad personal credit, you have a higher chance of stealing because there's too much debt. And if you're in debt, there's a high chance that you'll be willing to risk it all because you're in so much debt. You know what I'm saying? So if you come into a job and you come into a bank and you're 40,000 in credit card debt, they're gonna be looking at you like, we don't think this is the right job for you because you're in so much debt. Why wouldn't you want to steal money? That's the whole, concept behind it. But then when you have companies like Target that you're trying to get a job to fold towels and they won't hire you because you have bad credit. That stuff I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're changing the world working at Target.
Exactly. One aisle clean. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy.
So I actually asked this question before, but now that you're here, I'm gonna ask the question again. So in your experience, who's more wasteful with money, men or women?
Definitely women. Definitely went by a long shot, women. And I'm saying that based off my experience, right? I'm not just saying it off the top of my head because I would think if I wasn't doing credit, you asked me who wastes more money, I would say men. But because I see it every single day, women credit card debt, they have auto loans. They tend to pay more for their auto loans because a woman walks into a dealership, they're gonna take full advantage of her unless she understands how that process works, or she has a man with her that does. They get ripped off auto loans. I see more repossessions from women. I see more women's co-signing for men that they deal with, or their ex-boyfriends or whatever was going on at the time. They'll co-sign for a guy and put a car in their name, or add their car to that name, or add their name to that car, and that car end up getting repossessed and sitting on their credit. So I would say by a long shot, women are more wasteful when it comes to money.
So those points that you made there about a woman co-signing, you consider that wasteful?
Yes, because let me tell you why I consider it wasteful. Majority of the time, and when I say majority, I mean 99% of the time, the men that they're co-signing for are not their husbands. They're boyfriends, they're guys they talk to, they're male friends that they might have some type of intimate relationship with. There's never that solid, now if a woman comes to me and say, hey, I co-signed for my husband and he messed up, I'm not going to fault her for that. That was her husband. But if there's no reason for this man to, once you guys break up, what's the reason for him to pay the car note? There's no reason. He's at that point, he's gonna be like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, you don't want me no more? Okay, I'm good. You can have this car too. Oh, that's too much light.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see a point with that.
I see all that. I've been doing credit repair for over 40. Let's say I started around the age 24, 25. So probably 15, 16 years now. I've seen one man that co-signed for a woman and she did him wrong. I've seen that one time, and I know who the guy is. That's how I don't see men doing stuff like that. That's the thing that women do. They just co-sign for these men with no type of connection to them.
You're absolutely correct about that statement. I see it a lot too. You're correct.
Yeah, exactly. All day. That's not a bash on women. It's just that women tend to be more
gullible.
I wouldn't say gullible. You guys tend to, like, when you're with someone, you guys tend to be very, like, you're with them and you want to see them do well and you want to try to help them. Well, I guess you could say gullible.
You're trying to make it nice. There's no other way to define it but gullible. Because at the end of the day, that same man wouldn't do it for us.
Another thing that's crazy is I've seen that, and then the type of cars they co-sign for. It's like a Toyota Corolla, a Camry, a Honda Accord. No. It got to be a BMW 750, S550. It's all these high-end cars. Like that's why anytime a woman says, "Yeah, that's a car that I co-signed for my ex," I'm like, "Oh, what kind of car it is?" It's never a basic car. It's always some high-end car that costs like $50,000-$60,000 every single time. And I'm like,
Right.
if he couldn't get a Corolla on his own, why would you give him a Benz? Like, it doesn't make no sense.
That's
The sad thing about that, the way that women never get to ride in that car.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
so that's interesting that you said that in your experience that men really don't co-sign for women, but women more so try to help men up.
Yeah.
And and then when they do help them, it's not just something simple and basic. It has to be like over the top and extraordinary. Why do you think that's the case?
I think that women are just natural nurturers by nature. So they just want to. I think they're naturally wired to want to help, want to put people that they love in better positions. It's like like their kids. They always want to do the best for their kids. They want to do the best for their husbands. They want to do the best for their friends. I mean, women are awesome. They're awesome when it comes to like, if you need help with anything, you know what I'm saying? That you can go to a woman. They're great for that. Women are reliable. Like I always tell like these guys, especially these guys that's in the streets, I always tell them, I said, when times get hard and you got or you gotta go to jail for a while, only by your side is your lady and your mother. None of your boys are gonna be there. There's only your lady and your mother. Women are just natural nurturers by nature, so that's why they do things like that.
Yeah. But when you do things for people, it got to make sense. You can't just arbitrarily do it just because, oh, I like this person.
Well,
It has, but and I think this gets more into like relationships of because I watch, so now I watch more like relationship type podcasts, and one of my favorite podcasts to watch is Fresh and Fit.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys always talk about like women positioning themselves to be like the breadwinners in relationships, so they feel as though that they have to uplift men instead of like vice versa, where men want to uplift women. And I think like that goes back to your point of in your 15 years, you've never really seen like a man buy his woman a car, but women want to buy their guy a car. So so in terms of like relationships, does it make sense? Is it because women are now overtaking men when it comes to profitability and income?
Rephrase that question for me again. Give me that question again.
So do you think the reason why women are co-signing for their men and wanting to uplift men because now more so now women are the breadwinners in their relationships instead of men?
No, I think it's I don't necessarily think that they're doing it because of their breadwinners. I think a woman becomes let's just say gullible. Once a woman becomes gullible, it's another term I want to use, but I don't want to say it on Zoom. But once a woman becomes gullible, she pretty much do anything that man would ask her to do, even if she's not the breadwinner. You know what I mean? She's gonna want to co-sign for him. She's gonna want to buy him all types of gifts. Whatever he wants her to do, she's gonna do.
Correct. And I think a lot of it is these women, they want to feel needed. They want to feel, and some women just have to have a man that they have to cater to, nurture, and not just let him just be him and just accept the relationship the way it's going. They have to take control. Oh, I have to do this for him. I have to do that for him. And I think it breaks men down because even though they enjoy it, it breaks them down.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. And I feel like women, I mean, it's just in your nature. And I don't think it's in a woman's nature to be the breadwinner and to be in charge of, like as far as being, I don't think it's in the women. Like I always ask women, right? I always say, a woman to say, I'm the head of my household. I'm doing my thing. I'm holding it down by myself, blah, blah, blah. And then the question you just ask them is why? Like, do you want to do that? Most women will tell you they don't want to do that. They're forced into that position, so they have no choice but to do that because they got kids, they got responsibilities, they got all these different things going on. So I don't think it's necessarily because of the fact that they're breadwinners. I think that's just who they are, and they adapt to their surroundings, to their whatever's going on.
Right.
All right.
It's
So
interesting that
okay, go ahead.
uh, interesting you had a post up, and that's kind of like got my attention, where you ask women to allow men to be men.
Yeah, because I think you have a new wave of what they call in modern women, where because they're making more money, because they're in positions of power, because they're in control of their own destiny now, which is a great thing. I'm absolutely for that. And I would never try to stop a woman from reaching her best. But I think what happens is there's a disconnect now with, like, for instance, when a man becomes successful and he gets a certain level of success and he starts making a certain amount of money, he goes to look for a wife to start a family to take care of. A woman, on the other hand, when she becomes successful, the first thing she's gonna tell you is, "I don't need a man."
Oh,
Now,
don't get me started with that.
so she steps into a place of masculinity instead of femininity, right? And I hate those words. I hate hot words, and I hate words that people use because they're hot words. But it is what it is. And they'll start telling you things like, you'll ask them about themselves, and they'll tell you about how much money they make, where they work at, what kind of car they drive. But last time I checked, men don't care about none of that stuff. Like, I've never asked women how much money you make a year. But then you have these men that are like falling into positions, and they're actually like asking women, like, what do you bring to the table? How much money you make a year? What bill can you pay? When I was growing, I might be, maybe I'm old school, but I know I was raised to, if you're the man in the house, you take care of the house. You supply the house, and the woman makes the house a home. Now, I'm not saying her job is to, you say stuff like that. Now they say, oh, you have certain women that say that a woman that makes a house a home is weak because she's not out there getting it on her own, and she's, running up behind the man. But, how else is it supposed to be? Like, because if a woman has a man he's not a leader, how long is that man going to be her, how long is that man going to be around? She's going to start him. She's not going to respect him. She's going to kick him to the curb, and eventually she's going to go to somebody else who is a leader, because women naturally want to be led. That's just how I feel. And just by my experience, women naturally want to be led.
I agree.
You know what? This younger generation, like our children, my two daughters, one's is 30, the other one is 27, and one of my daughters, she was a teacher in South Korea. Mm-hmm. And my other daughter, she works in New York at Citibank, and they make good money, and what I noticed with a lot of these young African American women, and I'm very proud of them, because proud of this generation of African American women. They're very ambitious, they're educated, but what I noticed is that there's not that much weddings anymore. I don't see, like, my daughters, they're not married, and I mean, they're getting older now, and I mean, I'm like, are they ever going to have children? They're not even like going with a guy. When my oldest daughter, she has a boyfriend, but I'm like, why are these young girls not getting married? I mean, they're doing good. I have nieces that are doing good. I mean, they went to college, they got their education, and they make good money. I mean, I never made that much money, and they're not married. I mean, it's like, I think they can take care of themselves, and it's not like in my days. I'm 62 years old, where I think my generation was the last generation where you have to have a husband. It's like, to them, it seems like it doesn't matter to them, that, like, they're not interested in getting married. You know what I'm saying?
You're correct. They're not family oriented. They don't care. All they know is, I got my bag, I'm doing this. A lot of young ladies said to me, I can do this. I can buy my own car, I can buy my own house. I can do this. So like Dwayne said earlier, they do have the mentality that I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Why do I need a man when I'm making more money than him? And they don't understand that it's okay, but together you'll have more money, but they don't care. They don't care about kids either. So you talking about, you may never see grandkids because they don't care about kids. They're selfish.
So ironically, these are one of the things that is a question, because as these in the so-called independent women, as they get older, now their biological clock is coming basically to an end. And now it's like, I've done all these things except for, been in a relationship and actually had a family. So as they get older, they become more miserable because now if you have this mindset of, I don't need a man, I can get stuff on my own, then that's going to have a consequence later on. Because when you're young, you think that you have forever to do certain things. But then when you actually realize like, dang, I'm about to turn 40 and I don't have any children,
Yeah.
so now it's like, okay, as I'm entering my years of being a 40-year-old, the chances of me actually getting pregnant and bringing that baby to term decrease with every year.
Yep.
Right, exactly. They're really not family oriented, and that bothers me. Like I said, I admire their ambition. I admire that. I mean, these young African American ladies. I admire that they love their education and they're independent. They're independent. They're not laid back. They're not waiting for. But it's like I think they're lacking that. They're lacking that it's like they don't
The
want to be.
family structure, the family unit.
Yeah.
Because also when you think about the parents, they don't have that love and caring for their parents that we do. They don't have time.
Yeah.
They don't like
We
like my mother, she had to go to a nursing home. I mean, for the last 3 years of her life. And for years I was like, I would never have my mother go to a nursing home. And most people my age, it's like they took care of their mother. I took care of my mother to the best that I could until she had to go to a home before she passed away. Now I know my daughters will never take care of her. That's out of the question.
we already know it because right.
Yeah,
We would take care of the grandparents, the parents.
yeah.
No, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it.
No,
They're
no,
too
they're not.
busy.
Yeah, they're too busy. And I don't know if it's self-centeredness. I don't know what it is, but they're just in a different phase. They're in a different mindset, and they don't see things the way we do. They
Correct.
don't. So it's just their mindset, just the way they are. And like I really worry about my daughters. I'm like, are they ever going to get married? I don't know. Really. You know.
Yeah.
I have a
So I would like to interject really
Okay.
quickly as a younger African American female here.
Yeah.
I see that the conversation is leading a lot of onus on the women, which I completely disagree with. A lot of women, especially in my age group who I talk to, have no choice but to be independent because they were left in that type of situation to where they had no choice but to step up to the mantle of head of household and to be ambitious, because a lot of them were left as single mothers. But while we're having a conversation about women wanting to be wives, where is the conversation about men trying to be husbands? And not only that, but stepping up to that responsibility and that principle to be it, because a lot of young men nowadays don't want to be husbands, don't even want to be in committed relationships, and that their whole validity is tied to as many women that they could smash and what they can get from a woman. Not only that, but I've noticed with men in my age range, which I am in my early 30s, a lot of the times they don't even want to compete against other men. They want to compete against women, to where their whole comparison is that of a woman. So especially when you find Black women, young Black women in more affluent situations, who are they having to actually look at as a suitable partner? So yes, a lot of women are starting to rethink the marriage thing, because at the end of the day, you want to have a healthy, sustainable relationship. But in order to do that, you have to have a partner in that, and not just have rose-colored sunglasses on and say, okay, well, this is something that I'm supposed to do. Like a lot of the younger women in my little cousin's age who was in college don't want to have children because they don't want it to be a single parent household. So they are actually stepping away from that family dynamic and focusing them. And not only that, but it seems that there's this whole ideology that we are just supposed to be subservient on every regard, like, but now that women are starting to say that they're going to focus in on them, a lot of the times where it's a cause and effect again, where they had no choice but to be independent and head of the household, that then becomes a problem. But we're not having the dual conversation of getting men prepared to be husbands, or even having that mindset to be a husband and a family man and a provider and a leader.
Okay.
Please,
Well, that's a okay. Dwayne wanted to say something, so I'll let him reply to you. Dwayne?
I want to respond to what she said, right?
Yes.
Now, there's actually numbers. Everything she just said, there's actually numbers for this, right? So if you really look into what she said, and I completely agree that there are a lot of immature men out here that use men as they use women as, you know, they're womenizers. They don't take care of these women. They treat them like trash. So I can understand why she feels the way she feels. But that's not the majority. The problem is there's a certain group of men that run around and do these things, and these women allow them to do these things. Now, when it comes to a man preparing to be a husband, all men aren't going to be husbands, and all men aren't going to be good husbands. Just like all women can't be wives, and all women can't be good wives, right? And then when it comes to you know, having a child for someone, right? And this is why I put more blame on the women that I put. There are more women. There. I think it was the number was crazy. What was the number? It was like there are 2 times as many people with kids than men, right? So that tells you that majority of the men that are having these kids is a very small group of men. So if 2/3 of, let's say 2/3 of men in a certain age group don't have kids, right? But then you go to the same, and then 2/3 of women have kids, is a very small group of men that are actually having kids for these women, right? Having kids with these women. And another thing is a lot of the deadbeat dads that, you know, that
I need to see the statistics on that, because my research shows me something completely different than what you are saying right now.
What's your research?
Where's your statistics at to say that there's a small percentage of men who are having kids? And how is it that a man ejaculates into a woman, therefore creating the baby? All we do are the vessels, but yet more onus is on a woman. A woman can't get herself pregnant.
So, and let me hold on. Let me answer that question.
Yeah, answer.
Because one, women control sex, men
Yep.
control relationships. So
And you control who you ejaculate in.
the only way a woman is going to have sex, unless she's raped, that's a totally different scenario. But in order for a man to have sex with a woman has to consent to it.
Exactly.
So my thing is to sit here and blame men.
Again, so there's more responsibility on a woman than you and your bodily functions, because nobody told you to run up in that woman raw and ejaculate in her. So how is it then in turn the woman's responsibility for a man and his body?
India, you're not. Wait. Hold on, Mike.
I'm hearing exactly what you're saying, but you're making a woman responsible for your bodily functions.
But
nobody is putting a gun to these men's head and saying
India. But at the end of the day, it's a woman who controls sex.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if you open your legs, then you know that there's going to be a consequence for your actions.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you run in somebody's legs, that there's going to be a consequence for your actions.
But at the end of the day, like I said, women control sex. They choose who they want to have sex with. So at the end of the day, when we talk about responsibility, is that women nowadays, they don't point the finger at themselves and be like, yo, I made the mistake of having sex with this person. So
every day when they wake up as a single mother, what are you talking about?
But it still gets back to this thing of taking accountability, because most
women. But here you are trying to
people.
Escape accountability for a man, saying that it's more responsibility of a woman over your bodily functions. We don't even have rights to our bodies. There are laws literally being stripped to where women can't even have an abortion. So we don't even have fair rights over our bodies, but yet I'm supposed to have rights over yours. Like I said, a woman can't impregnate herself.
Can I interject here?
Again, women control sex. So if you don't want to get pregnant,
I want to interject to the purpose.
Okay, wait, hold it. Wait. Let's have a little bit of order. Mr. Husband wanted to say something. Let me try to catch the order here. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Husband.
What I would like to interject here is neither one of you should be saying the other person is responsible for this.
Amen.
It is both parties.
Yes.
A man does not have the right to say, woman, you make the choice. A man has the right to say, you know what, woman, I don't want to have sex with you unprotected because I don't want to be responsible for making you pregnant or contributing to you being pregnant. I, as a human being, as a man, has a responsibility to step back and say, you know what? No. I don't want to have sex with you. That is a responsibility on both people. to say that a woman controls the relationship and the narrative would not be correct. Yes, she has a bigger risk that would cause her to be bearer of a child because that's her part of the equation. But to place the blame and say that she has the control of the relationship, no. Both
Okay.
parties are responsible for it.
Okay, while you are correct in a sense, women, and I agree with the point that said we control it, because guess what? We have the tools that can put a man in any position we want him to be. Women plays these games, and when the consequences arise, then all of a sudden you forget it. I don't want to take the responsibility, right? It's same thing like women is always blaming the deadbeat dads, right? And not taking responsibility. We chose that man, right?
Thank you.
So then now
So
you
you
pass
have,
on the
oh
blame.
my God,
We chose that man, so you cannot blame him. And as you know from the beginning of time, that the burden lies on the woman. It's always been. And I'm not saying that you guys are incorrect, but I'm telling you, we have the tools, we have the jewels to control a man. A lot of women that I know play the sex game with men,
Both
and
parties play,
they fall for it all the time. They
both
fall
parties,
for it because
right.
men are weak when it comes to sex.
That may very well, that may very well
again,
be
all the
correct for the
accountability is
most
falling
part.
on the
Debatable.
woman.
No,
Wow.
and I believe that that should not be the case because
It's
I as a man knows that guess what? If you are, because it's happened to me where you're trying to play a game and want to get pregnant, and it's like, no, I'm not going to engage that with you because I see the game, and not that everybody will necessarily see the game, or we play it to a certain degree, but we also know that you are trying to put me in a position where you can get pregnant. I have a responsibility as an adult to say, you know what? I'm not going to have sex with you because I'm not ready to have a child with you. So it's a game that they may play, and I find that personally, women are given too much power in that direction as if a man has no control whatsoever or making a decision. Yes, we may not be as strong in that degree, but we also have to look at ourselves and say, I entered that vagina because I wanted to, and I entered it in a way that would cause some person to get pregnant. Yes, they will do whatever games they want to play, but guess what? Nobody took what I had, inserted it, and make me ejaculate in there. That is action on my part.
No, you know
Exactly.
what? I agree. I
So
agree.
take responsibility for that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% what he's saying. But what I'm saying is, when I talk about like deadbeat baby dads, right? A lot of times these deadbeat baby dads have multiple kids. So how are you a deadbeat baby father with three different kids by three different women, and you still have women lining up to have kids for you? Prime example, Future. Future is a well-known deadbeat dad. How many women are lined up right now are just trying to have a kid with him because he has a couple dollars? Who do you blame
correct.
for that? Do you blame Future, or do you blame the women that's looking for a come up? Like you have to understand that a lot of these men that are deadbeats, they're known deadbeats, and these women still lay down with them and have kids for them. So I
That's
can't feel sorry for every single mother out there. Now,
no, no, no. That
come up,
is that would be correct because that's a choice that they're making, knowing that they're falling into that
exactly.
situation,
I don't want
going
to hear about a
into it.
deadbeat dad. If that's the decision you made to go lay down with a deadbeat dad, and he already showed you that he's a deadbeat dad, that's your responsibility. You can't put that back on every man. Like, oh, black men are
No,
this.
no, no.
No, no. You made that decision. You knew he wasn't taking care of little Jonathan, and he wasn't taking care of little Jamal. He ain't taking care of none of them. But you decided to lay down with that man, and then you want to have a child because for some reason you thought you were the one that was gonna make him all of a sudden get up and be father of the year. Now you calling the baby mothers like, oh, he ain't taking care of this one either, and y'all all just standing there looking stupid. The only
That
So
Correct.
again,
And
it's always finding a fault in the woman. But at the end of the day, in order to be a single mother, then there has to be an absentee father. So when is the responsibility and accountability placed on them? In the regards to their future situation, that's a totally different dynamic. And in that case, you would blame both because he is in the limelight and he made it clear his ignorance. But
what
at the
about
end
Nick
of the
Cannon?
day, how
What
do
about
you
Nick Cannon?
shame a woman with low self-esteem? And it's not always that situation. There have been literally single mothers who are married.
So,
Correct.
So
so,
again,
so
he's
India,
always
so
finding
India,
the fault and accountability to be
no, so
placed at
India,
the
so
foot of the
India.
woman, but a man, there's every scapegoat for, scapegoat for them to remove them. Like they're some kind of victim.
Do you know the definition of a single mother? Because a lot of women don't even know what a single mother is. A single mother is a woman that does most or majority of the work by herself, financially and physically.
Exactly.
If you child support, you're not a single mother. If the father is in the child's life, you're not a single mother. So a lot of these women that's running around here calling themselves single mothers aren't single mothers. I know women that literally get their bills paid and the kid spends half the time with with the father, and they run around here calling themselves single mothers. You're not a single mother. Just because you and the father relationship didn't work out and you don't like him doesn't make you a single mother. Oh yeah, and on Father's Day, you're not the daddy either. Like I just don't understand. I just don't get it. People, now, if you have an absentee father that's not there, he doesn't pay no child support, he doesn't come see his child, then you're a single mother. Majority of these women that call themselves single mothers are not single mothers. Majority.
Yeah. Well,
according to your opinion.
I say it like
definition of
some
single
women
mother.
are mothers and fathers. Some women, they are the mother and they are also the father because
You can't be the mother and the father.
I hate when females say that. That's one of the most ignorant thing you can say, that you're not the father and the mother, because men and women are different.
Man, how to be a man, you cannot be a father. No woman can teach a man how to be a man. Why don't I see any men out here teaching women how to be women? You know why? Because we're not women. You can't teach a woman how to be. If you're not a woman, I never lived in a woman's body. I never went through what she went through. How can I teach my daughter how to be a woman? Only another woman can do that. You cannot be a father.
Correct.
You cannot teach a man how to be a man.
Look,
Right. We're just fulfilling the obligations because there's no one there. But you are correct. We are not. We cannot teach our sons what a man could teach. Correct.
what has happened, especially with my mother, they played the role of both mother and father because they became the provider of both nurturing and providing for the home. So they were
and the disciplinarian and the therapist.
One person, everybody can't talk at once.
So they took on the role as the father, not that they could teach a boy to be a man, but they took on the responsibility of being both the mother and the father because that became the situation that they had to deal with.
Listen, how do you take on the role of a mother and father? If there's no father and you're not a father, how can you take on both roles? How can I be?
Because you're the provider. No, because you're looking at it from the specific theoretical. Look, my mother was, as far as I was concerned, my mother was more as both my mother, and because she took on the responsibility of raising me, supporting me, providing for me, nurturing me. So there was no father in my life. So as far as I was concerned, she took on the responsibility of being my father. She cannot teach me how to do things, play games and stuff like that. But as a parent, she took on that responsibility. In this day and age, right, it's just a role. In this day and age, you're saying specifically, you cannot teach a boy how to be a man because you're not a man. That's not the issue. The issue is you're being the person who is raising the family. You're not taking on that responsibility, and that is the role that you're playing at that time. So to look at that and say, well,
you're either the mother or the father.
Yeah, you can't be both.
You're either the mother, the father.
It's
you can't be both.
It's a role that the person has to play.
I cannot be the mother. For me, I can't be the mother and take on the role of the father. I'm either strictly mother. I'm teaching you certain things, but I'm not the father figure. I'm the mother.
But here's the thing.
So I kind of disagree with that.
You're speaking in specific terms. We're speaking in terms of the role that you said that person, you look at that and say, well, I didn't have a father in my life. So who am I looking to? My mother is providing and raising me the best way that she could. She cannot teach me how to be a man, but she's acting in the role.
Okay, so let me tell you what I did in my instance. What I did, I found a male figure for my son.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I did because I couldn't teach him what a man could teach him. So, and I understand that certain people do not have that. They don't have uncles, or they don't have to have that opportunity. However, I was a mother and father.
Well,
I am the mother.
My mother was a role as that.
Is it cool to tell a woman she looks like a man?
That again?
When is it ever cool to tell a woman she looks like a man?
If she's a stud,
No, just say regular everyday woman. She got kids, no father in life. When can you ever walk up to that woman and say, "Yo, you like a man"?
never.
You can never do that, right? That only works on Father's Day. That's the only time a woman would accept anything manly is on Father's Day. If I tell you Happy Father's Day, you should feel disrespected. You're not a man. Come to me and tell me Happy Mother's Day on Mother's Day, and watch the response I'm gonna give you. You think I'm gonna say, "Oh, thank you"? I'm playing both roles. I've never heard a man say I'm playing both roles. And there's a lot of
Well,
single fathers out here
Because
that's
that's more of a rarity than single mothers. Like, come on now, stop being intellectually dishonest.
I know 2 single fathers. They're still there. That doesn't mean they don't exist because there's less of them.
I didn't say they don't exist. I said that is not the norm.
But you shouldn't be happy that somebody else is telling you Happy Father's Day. A father's a man. When is it okay for me to call you a man? Can I come to you and tell you, oh, your haircut like a man? You smell like a man, you dress like a man, you walk like a man. I can't tell you nothing else about being a man, but I can tell you Happy Father's Day. That doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, just earlier you said that women
No,
were
it
more
may not
masculine.
make sense to you, but in these
I
days,
said
you
women
can
step
say
into
anything
masculine.
because,
They have to
like
because they
Mr.
can.
Husband said, it's a role that you have taken on.
Yvette,
that's
And it's
it.
a
these
role
days
that you have to
you
assume.
cannot say
Yeah.
anything in these days. You cannot say anything.
You cannot take
People
on the
people get offended by almost everything you say when it's
best mother I can
convenient
be.
for
How dumb
that.
does sound? I'm gonna be the best mother I can be. How dumb does that sound? If you gotta look at it from the other side. Look how dumb I sound.
Dwayne,
How dumb y'all
Tell
sound.
you, there's
Dwayne,
some
I'm a
men
father.
that are
Dwayne,
Woman.
there's some men that take much better care of their children than the mother does.
Fathers.
There's
They
thank
wouldn't call
you,
themselves mothers. That's the
thank
whole
you,
argument. They wouldn't call themselves
thank
mothers.
you.
no, I
They're
mean,
amazing
no,
fathers. They're
because
not mothers.
it's just a role. It's just a role that
Just
a
a
parent.
role.
It's not a role. You cannot
Yes,
reduce
It
it
is.
it
is.
down to a role. It's not a role. Literally,
But
But it's something you have to do because I know 2 men that are raising that have full custody of their children.
yeah.
Their mother
And it
is
happens.
nowhere around. We have to look, ours
Mhm.
individual situations might be different, but we
Yeah.
have to look, the reality may not exist with us personally, but it does
Yeah.
exist with other people when you examine it.
My brother is a single father, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've never heard him say I'm playing both roles. You know what he did? He has a fiance now. He went out and found someone to play the motherly role because he cannot do what a mother does. Mothers do amazing things like fathers do amazing things. We got to stop with this. Fathers are optional. It's ridiculous.
There's
If that was the case,
fathers
let's
that
talk about it.
own their
Let's talk about it, right?
Okay.
90%, I think it's 86% of black men that's in jail for violent crimes come from single parent homes. What does that tell you? That there's no man. A man has to teach you how to be a man. A woman can't teach you how to be a man, right? A lot of
Dwayne,
these guys that's running around the streets like calling themselves
Or
thugs.
maybe the absentee fathers would let them astray, which has been
Okay,
documented.
1 second. Let's give Gio a chance. You got your hands up. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. My environment's a little bit loud, but I think you might be able to hear me. I think a lot of conversation, like people are kind of talking past each other because no one's defining what they think fatherhood is. So like one person's saying, "Oh, I think fatherhood is a role," and another person saying they don't think it's a role. But it's like no one's defining what they think fatherhood is. So I feel like there's a lot of like talking past each other going on there. And I also just say, just the last one that was made, I don't think a lot of people are in prison aren't in prison because they lack a fatherhood figure. A fatherhood figure being there doesn't mean he's a positive influence. You know what I mean? There are a lot of guys that teach their kids how to rob and steal and do all that extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more a matter of positive influence in the role. But honestly, people in prisons and people who lack a quote unquote fatherhood figure, it's people who end up in negative roles. It's usually more a result of poverty and like environmental situations than the fact that they didn't have a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think a dad can play a positive role, but just because a dad is there doesn't mean it's going to be a positive role. And I also think that I don't think it's weird. I mean, I don't know personally, but I don't think it's weird to say like for people like, oh, that was my. If your dad wasn't around, and your mom taught you how to like, you know what I mean, like taught you how to do a lot of things. Like a woman, it's very technical language, but a woman can't necessarily teach you everything because she doesn't have all the like the necessities to teach you all the stuff. But there's a lot of things that they can teach you about like how to be a good person. The truth is, I think rigid structures of what manhood isn't. I don't think it's normally true. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think like there's different people have different definitions of what manhood is. So this guy can teach you like, oh, it's a man's son to take care of a woman and and to be a provider, blah blah. Another guy, manhood could mean a different thing. So just because a dad or a male figure, quote unquote, is in the house, that doesn't necessarily mean that what they're teaching you is the same definition of manhood all around. That's all I want to say.
You can say
Okay.
the same thing about women in the house.
All right. Thank you for sharing, Gio.
Is going to be a good, it's going to be a good one. You know what I mean? Like that's something you can say for both sides. What I'm saying is the numbers say that women, if you come from a 2-parent household, you have a much higher chance of not ending up in jail for violent crime. That's all that's saying. That's not saying that you're guaranteed not to end up in jail for violent crime. But if 86% of men are in jail for violent crime, come from fatherless homes, that should tell you that not having a father is a problem. So you
Right.
can.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about the numbers. You can't, nothing is 100%. You can't say, hey, if you have a dad, you're gonna be successful. That's not true. You got kids that come out of millionaire, billionaire families and they end up broke. That does not, just because you grew up with money don't mean you always gonna have it. But you gotta look at the probability. What's the chances? Like if your son goes to this school, what's the chances of him being successful? He goes to this school. What's the chances of him being successful? It's all about numbers. So you can't just go off, what just because there's a father there don't mean this. Yeah, just because there's a mother there don't mean that either. It all depends, the choices that they make.
You're absolutely correct, because a lot of the kids, when my kids was growing up that had both parents in the house, half of the kids still ended up in jail, dead, on drugs. Me that brought mine up, look how they turn out, so you never know. You just can't.
Exactly. Because I know people
and that's why you can't always down single parents, because some single parents are stronger than two families together, parents together.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
But not knocking the fact that I agree that you do have a better chance, but it's not guaranteed.
Absolutely.
All right. So based on this conversation, then my other question is, because I think we were kind of going back and forth with females now being breadwinners, and I think Yvette was saying how her daughters are gonna. So the question I have is the alpha male a dying species?
No, all he do is laugh. I love this guy. I love him. I answer first. No, I don't think the alpha male is a dying species, and I think the alpha male is still the most sought after by all types of women, right? Because I feel like if you're a man and you about your business and you get into it and you taking care of your responsibilities, most women are gonna want you. So I don't think it's a dying species. I do think there's a lot of alpha males that aren't really alpha males. Like you can't be an alpha male if you don't know how to lead. You can't be an alpha male if you don't know how to, feed your family, feed yourself. Alpha males is a thing. It's not because you walk around and you muscular. That don't make you alpha. Make you alpha is the way how people treat you when you walk into a room. Because people call me, I don't consider myself an alpha male, but people call me that. I don't know, whatever that means. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think that alpha males, as long as you're on top of your game and you get into it, do what you got to do. Women women love men like that. It doesn't matter how much money they make, they love men like that.
Because we live in a society now where you growing up in the 80s where every time you turned on the television you seen like Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these different dudes, and it was like, yeah, these are men. And now all of a sudden you have males, when you see them, they're wearing the tight jeans and have like the little purses and all that other good stuff. So it kind of gets back to India's point of like males just basically dropping off. So is the drop off the reason why we don't get married as much as everybody else does? We're talking about like black people, because other races of people, they get married, and other races of people, they don't walk around saying, oh, I don't need a man. They don't walk around disrespecting a man. They don't do certain things that like American black women do.
Okay. Whew, that's a good one.
No, but sometimes
my take my take on that is you see now that, and I understand, like Yvonne point with her kids, but when you think about it, what are the choices that these young black women have when it comes to men? When you look around, a lot of these black boy guys are with white girls, right?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Listen.
So black men being
but
with
listen,
white
but
women
listen,
is only
listen. It lessens the chance. Black women mostly are less likely to jump ship, right?
Mhm.
And so what are the options? Then the other ones are in jail and the other ones are other than. So what are the choices for Black women? And that's a question.
Okay, so maybe the first
What is it called? Polygamy? No, no. What's it called? Polygamy? Polygamous relationship?
Polygamy, yeah.
What else?
No, listen.
No, give them good choices.
No,
Give
listen,
them
no,
have a
That's a real.
constructive.
No, that's an actual real movement that's going on.
yeah, it is.
Because you
Yes.
realize
Polygamy.
that there's not a lot of quality Black men. So what women are now doing, Black women are now doing, saying like, listen, I'll share them, and it's a committed relationship. They all live in the same house. They all take care of. They all pay bills. They all do certain things.
Right.
Matter of fact, there's a whole movement in Atlanta with women doing this.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that though, right?
Okay.
When it comes to, I like for one, I don't agree that most that there's a shortage of good Black men. I think that's there's just as much good Black men as there is good white men, right? But I think the problem is the women don't want those men. Those aren't the men that are sought after. We notice these aren't the men that are sought after because once again, look at the guys who are having all the babies. The gangsters, is the drug dealers, is the scammers, is the guys that's out here doing everything illegal. Now, I don't know if you guys ever want to go visit someone in prison, but I want you to walk into these prison. When you visit someone in prison, just walk around, look at all the beautiful women that's in there that's there for their man. Look at all these beautiful women, and you look around and you say to yourself, "Why are you here? You can have a doctor, you can have a lawyer, but you chose to deal with this type of guy. Look at all these rappers, entertainers, all these people that do things negative, impact Black people negative, and look at the women that's around them. They love those type of men. Ciara is a prime example, right? Because they try to twist up the narrative that we're just mad because Ciara's happy. No one cares. We're happy that Ciara's happy. But here's the problem with Ciara. Ciara dated all trash womenizing men before she decided to give the nice guy a try. She didn't give the nice guy a try first. She gave the nice guy a try last. You ever heard that saying, nice guys finish last? This is why that saying exists. I was a nice guy in high school. Girls weren't checking for me in high school. They were not checking for me. You know when they started checking for me? When I got my heart broke and I decided I didn't care no more. All of a sudden they love. When I was an a-hole, now all of a sudden they love me. Oh, he's such a good guy. He's so stern. He's so this, he's so that, because I decided I wasn't taking crap from women anymore. That's what they like. So women can tell you all day, I want me a nice guy that's gonna treat me good, that get me flowers. Get a woman flowers twice a week and watch how quick she said you annoy me with these flowers. They don't want that. That's not what they want. So they want the bad boy. You know when they realize they don't want the bad boy no more? After they done had a couple kids with the bad boy, after the bad boy done cheated on them with everybody and destroyed their heart. Now all of a sudden they 40 talking about something, I want to find me a good man now. Now they want a man to help raise the bad boy kids. This is what they look for. And then when a person like me says, no, I'm not interested in that, there's something wrong with me. I don't like my mother. I don't like Black women. I want to date a white girl. No, I just don't want to date you. It has nothing to do with all the other stuff you're saying. I just don't want to date you. And I'm growing up. I've seen this time and time and time. I know a guy right now. I think he's like 42 right now, right? Always been a nice guy. Always been a sucker for love. Every woman took advantage of him, cheated on him, and dumped him, right? He finally got it together now. He's in his 40s. He started working out, getting himself together, right? And all of a sudden, every woman is chasing this guy now, chasing him down now, right? And all he's running into is these women that got multiple kids by multiple baby fathers. They're damaged. They don't bring nothing to him. All they just want him to come, save the day, pay all their bills, and move over. He's not interested in that no more. You know what I mean? But now, there's something wrong with him now because he's not interested in that. Like that's what's really going on here, and I've seen it time and time again.
Bullshit.
India, you got kids?
Yes, I have one child.
One child. How old are you?
I'm 31.
You still with the child's father?
No, I am not.
You have a son or a daughter?
I have a son.
So let me ask you a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you would like a man to come into your life and marry you and raise your son like his own and take care of you, right?
That's any woman who has a child.
No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
That's any woman who has a child. I answer your question.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. So let's say, for instance, your son grew up and your son decided that he went to Harvard, the best schools. Now he's a big time attorney, and he brings home a woman with 2 kids from another guy. Would you accept that woman?
Yes, I would. It depends on the woman's mentality and what she's talking about and her mindset.
I don't believe you, India. You would be like, yo, why you doing all this? Why you go pick up?
Why is that? I mean,
Dwayne,
Perryman could attest to the fact that I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it is what it is.
Dwayne, why are
But
you
now,
making
No
assumptions?
man would choose to be a stepfather first. I'm second.
Dwayne,
No man would choose to be a stepfather first.
I'm sorry. Wait, repeat that.
I said no man would choose to be a stepfather first.
No man or black man?
No man.
No, man.
That's not
If
true.
I had, listen, if
That's not true.
Hey, Eric.
That's not
if it was
true.
two
And
women,
that's
if it was two
been one
women,
of the conversations that
if
me
it
and
was two
Perryman
women,
have had on
I'm
the
gonna
fact
ask
that
every man on
dated
here.
I have started.
Okay.
I'm
Let
gonna
me
ask every man
finish.
on here.
Let
if it
me
was two
finish.
women,
Let
the
me
same-
finish.
No, let me just get this out real quick.
Perryman could attest to the fact that one of the conversations that we had about 2 years ago was about me expanding my dating profile outside of the Black community and how I realized that there's definitely a different socialization and a different mindset and mentality when you start to date outside of the Black community. And the only reason why one of the situations did not work out with the gentleman that I was talking to, who happened to be a Caucasian, was for the fact of, as we started to have more deeper conversations, I realized that he had a disdain for Black males. And I told him that I could not do that because I have a Black son who will one day be a man. But never once was it the fact of me having a child was a point of contention. Never. Not once.
Let me ask you guys a question. Every man on here, I'm gonna ask you this question. You had two women, the exact same woman. Let's say you had in India, same India, right? Same attitude, same personality, same everything. Nothing is different, right? One India had one kid, one had none. Which one you going for? I'll start with you, Eric. Which one you going for?
The one with none.
Okay, who's next? Michael, which one would you go for?
Which Michael are you speaking to?
The one in the dark with the grill, with the gold grill. which one you going for?
I would go for the mature person that I
No, they're the same person.
No.
They're the same.
Mr. Husband, he says, say
one has one kid,
everything
one
is
has
the same.
none. One has one kid, one has none. Which one you going for?
I'm going for the one with the kid.
I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here, yo.
Because I like the responsibility of being a parent, and that tells me that this person is responsible for taking care of their child, and they become responsible. Everybody does not have the same perspective about life, and for any person to presume that they have the answer to all of the positions of a male or female, I look at that as an issue.
But that was but Mr. Husband, that was a direct question. A or B, without all the details. A or B. Everything is the same except the one has a kid and one doesn't.
I would take the one with the kid.
So hold on.
Okay.
So husbands, hold on. Because you're saying that, but in reality, you also got to throw into some things, right? Because if you're with a woman who has a son, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means, is that woman going to allow you to discipline her son? Because there's always these other things that you have to think about when dealing with people or women that have children. Because say it again, Dwayne.
I said, don't forget about you got to deal with the father. What type of man is he?
That is a conversation. That is a conversation that I will have.
But who wants to? Why would you want to pick up all that responsibility when you have another one standing right here?
Some men believe that children are their legacy, so it doesn't matter if that child came directly from them biologically or not. So again, even with you asking this question, it's nothing but black men.
Indians, repeat that. I think I missed.
I said some men have the understanding that children are their legacy, whether it be biologically theirs or not, and they feel that that is their duty and their responsibility, even if that child does not come directly from them. I have a coworker right now who has been married for 15 years with her husband. This man has never had any children, only the 2 children that she brought to the relationship. And not once did he ever pressure her to have a child. Matter of fact, when she brought up the idea of giving him his own biological child, he told her no, because that is the children that he has seen and that God has chosen for him, and that was all he needed.
That person is an anomaly. If you ask 100 men, would they rather be with a woman?
Anomaly in what context?
Wait,
are we talking about racially, or are we just talking about men in general?
We just general, right, Dwayne?
That's not true.
That's general, correct?
I've never met a man that want to pay child support for a kid that's not his. I've never met that. So why?
What are you talking about child support? If you're in a relationship with someone,
no, but you said if it doesn't matter.
No, when you talk about child support and being responsible, it's 2 different things.
It
Because
absolutely
I'm
is.
looking at the reaction of the guy when Mr. Husband said I would choose the woman with the child. Now everybody make individual decisions.
Right.
And the thing is that whatever decisions they make, that's the choice that they have to live with. Because
Right.
it doesn't matter if you told 1,000 people and 99% of them go with the answer that you like. Because most people, and I'm looking at Reed, and when he's asking the question, if the answer does not suit him, then he objects to the question and he reacts.
But we
And
always
he
expect
does
like
not
that.
accept, because it's all individual. And the thing is in life,
Right.
you have to accept every answer that's coming from different people,
People.
because my answer is not your answer.
Right.
What's working for me is not going
To
to
each,
work for you. Because
to
I
each
can
his own.
tell you of a young woman, 32 years old, who had a kid when she was a teenager. She has 6 kids by 4 different fathers. She's married to a man and she has 3 kids for him. Personally, working with them, and that man has taken over all those
Oh,
kids that he
Yvette,
has.
Bless
She
his heart.
is fighting
Yvette,
in court for the
Yvette,
2 kids
Yvette,
that
Yvette,
he
Yvette.
has outside.
Y'all are talking about anomalies.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about in general.
That's
Y'all
not
are
the
talking
norm.
about people that y'all know that are anomalies.
But reality,
Okay, but
because
what white
But
men,
that's
Hispanic men,
not the
Asian men have
norm,
y'all
though.
talked to get this perspective of all men?
I'm not a white man, so why do I talk to white men again?
Exactly. So all you're talking off is the premise of black men, which I stated in the
No,
beginning.
I'm talking about the premise of me. I can't speak for every black man.
But you
Hey,
say all
thank
men
you.
would rather be with a woman who has no kids.
Majority of men would rather be with if I put 2 women
You
in
say a
front of
majority, but you're speaking on a demographic of men that you don't even have conversations with.
I'm going to tell you
why
all
do I
something.
talk to every
My
man
dad,
percentage?
my dad had kids outside of his marriage. But you know what? When my dad tells his son, don't bring any ready-made family. He didn't want any ready-made family.
Exactly.
So,
Most men don't want that. That's no. I don't
and
understand
I
how
used to
women-
look at him like, you have double standards. You did it, so now you're telling your sons you don't want outside children.
I don't understand women that tell men about being men. Like, you can't tell me how. I know how most men feel about most items. Like, most men don't want women with kids. Most men just don't want it.
Most black men. How about you say that?
That's
Because
most
that's who
men,
you're
period.
talking
It's
to.
not black men.
No,
It's
because
No,
Who you're
that's-
talking to. Like you just said,
no,
you don't know
that's not
even if you look at the
correct.
Asian
so don't say
community,
all men.
no,
I'm
even if you
literally
look at
having conversation with different races of men, having these conversations as a single mother to a son in this world, starting to date, because I was at one point closed off where my main focus was getting myself right and my child right, until I started having a conversation with other men in my life and realizing that that was something that my son was yearning for. So then I told myself, after having miserable circumstances and endings with men, and I'm not talking about the bad boy, quote unquote, that you claim that we all love. I'm talking about men with good jobs, an education in regards to scholastic and school. However, when I decided to stop being race loyal and widen my demographic of man, the difference is night and day with the conversation, the socialization, the mentality, and how they move.
But who's the
are you in a
denominator, though?
relationship
You're
now?
the one choosing these men. So when do you look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? If you're the one choosing this same type of man over
No,
and
we
over
have to
again.
stop.
That's
Women
because my
don't
standards
choose
are high
men.
because
It's
I have a
just a
child now. I don't
relationship
date
that
just for
people just have.
myself.
So
So
your
a man can
you're
look
saying your
great on
standards were lower
paper.
before you had a child? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry?
You're saying your standards were lower before you had a child?
Yes, they were, because I was a child and I was just living in my own bubble thinking life was just grand, however it was. But then when having a child, that made me realize that there was a deeper responsibility to not just my son, but the future that he is then going to create, because my legacy will live on after me. And I understand the weight and the power of that. And just because I'm not in a relationship right now with somebody, how does that then turn around that it's just me? Maybe I don't tie my validation into a man. Maybe my standards are the way that they are to weed out the weak and get the appropriate man for me and myself. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I don't just date for myself. I date for me and my son now.
Hello?
Gio, you had your hand up for a while. Go ahead, Gio.
Yeah, a lot was said, so I'm gonna sound like a little bit, but someone else mentioned this, and I think it's true. Because you guys are saying it was an anomaly for men who would want another woman. That if they had the same people, one had a kid and one didn't, it'd be an anomaly for the guy who wanted a kid, one lady with a kid, right? But in this limited space with like 10 people, however many people is on the chat right now, you found one guy that wanted that. Then one of the ladies was telling you that she had a guy her job that wanted that. You guys dismissed that completely, and then was like, but that's still an anomaly. But you literally have someone in the chat that they need to do it. That's one. I'll say two is that when he mentioned you guys are saying they're exactly the same people, but then when he picked the lady with the kid, then magically now you got to consider the guy, you got to consider how she thinks about things. So now she's different when he picks her, but before he picks her, she's the exact same person as the other lady. She just has a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a shifting of the goalpost a little bit after.
No, she's the same woman, but her situation is different. She's the same exact woman, but I
Well,
said
if her situation's different, then she's not the same woman. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, and then I'll say earlier there was a mention of the fact that like women would have kids with the bad boy, and then after that they'd want to get a nice guy to take care of the kids that the bad boy gave them. Well, I think there's a couple things. One, I think it's an unfair advantage because there's guys we can breed and leave. You know what I'm trying to say? But like women, they're the ones that have suffered kids. So like
I know women that breed and left. I just want to put that out there. I know two.
Yeah, but again, it's just not like. But my thing is though, like, so when when the woman had the kid, that guy who has that kid, he could like he doesn't have that quote unquote extra thing. He could pretend he doesn't have. I actually know a lot of people who pretend they don't have kids. So like the women have that kind of bond with their kids usually, so they're gonna stay with their kids. So it's an unfair advantage to the guys, but then like you could just leave and be like, oh, I don't have a kid, you know what I'm saying? But then the woman has a kid, so then it's unfair to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like she should just have a kid and she shouldn't be able to do anything else with the decision that she and someone else made. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like an unfair advantage for men and an unfair disadvantage for women from that perspective. I'd also say that women like assertive men, that's typically the trend, right? And there's a lot of overlap between assertiveness and like the assholes. It's like a lot of assholes are assertive. But that's not necessarily that they want assholes. Just like assertive men. Like I consider myself a nice guy, but I still do me. You know what I'm trying to say? And I still do my thing. But because I'm also assertive. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like not like you're nice. Like I see a lot. Like I'll see guys, they're like, oh my, first people I personally know, they'd be like, oh my heart got broken. And I became an asshole and I started doing stuff. But, like they became an asshole, but they also became assertive. Like they were a little timid before, but they became assertive. And a lot of women like assertive men. So it's like they conflate that overlapping of being assertive and an asshole, and then they think women just want assholes. It's typically just women just like assertive men. And I'll also say someone mentioned earlier about raising the twin. She mentioned that the guy didn't want to have a kid because he was satisfied with the two kids that the woman had before he went to a relationship. I think because a lot of conversations in general, like a lot of it is systemic stuff that we're trying to individualize. So like, the guy wanted like we're Africans, right? We've been out of Africa for a while, but we're Africans. Africans are communal people, and Africans raise their kids communal. Especially back then when you couldn't really tell, you know, like if we were interbreeding, like say 5 guys had sex with a lady or something like that, like you wouldn't know who the father was, so everyone treated it as if they were the father. So like we raise kids communally. So this mentality of like, yo, now I'm like, oh, this ain't my biological kid. So like that's a very European mindset that's like relatively new to African people. We've always communally raised our kids. Yeah, I think that's basically all I already had to say. I don't remember what else I had to say, but yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with a lot of stuff you just said. I don't agree that I don't believe African men. I think when they say raise a village, I think they were talking about a village of women. I don't think they were talking about a village of men because a lot of times the men were off hunting and building and gathering and doing what they got to do. So a lot of times they weren't even there to you know raise their kids until the sons reached a certain age. Then they took the sons and did what they did. But that's more history than anything else. We ain't talking about that tonight.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So we're at the top of the hour. Yeah, very interesting conversation.
This was great.
Right. And you know, when my whole goal for this is for us as Black men and women to get together and have these conversations that we wouldn't ordinarily have in a nice, comfortable, safe space, non-judgmental, because we can agree to disagree. But the thing is, we are looking at things from different perspective. And the goal is, how can we as Black male and female coexist and unite? We are being torn apart in every direction. So we need to find a way to get to unite, basically. So I think these conversations are beginning.
This was great. I really enjoyed this.
This was healthy. It was healthy.
Yeah, very, very.
Right.
Where did India? Come on, man.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
it-
India, she just texted me. She said that she had to put her son to sleep.
Okay. Okay. Bring her back next week, man. That was really great.
Oh no, she's always.
Yeah, that's great. I love her.
She didn't get an impression.
When you debate, it's not nothing personal. I don't know you guys, so it's not like
Right.
I have a
It's not
personal
personal.
vendetta. I'll see you guys, give you a hug. I love everybody. I feel how I feel, just like you guys feel how you feel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. It's not
And that's
personal.
to say, right, we all respect each other's opinion, because the only thing that really counts is facts. When
Yeah,
somebody
exactly,
comes and say,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
this is that. Other than that, my opinion is mine. You
That's
may
correct.
like something that's my opinion. I may say, oh, this is his opinion, but you know what? I can work that, and that's okay. But facts is facts. We can't fight that.
Exactly.
But just the
Right.
coming together.
Right. Yeah. That's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Very good.
Eric,
I do
anything?
have a question. I do have
Okay.
a quick question with the young lady who taught at Keene. When did you retire?
Oh, I
Yvonne.
wasn't. I retired in 2016.
Okay, the reason why I was asking that question is because one of my employees just graduated from Keene University, and I was wondering if you knew her or she knew you. That's what I was wondering.
Where are you, bro?
Did she work?
Pardon me?
I work in the police department.
Where are you?
Me, I'm
Huh?
in Piscataway.
No, I mean, like, what room are you in? Why so dark?
Because I like to be in the dark and keep people in the dark about who I am.
See, that's
Until
why you're
necessary.
not thinking correctly, man, because you're in the dark right now. You have the light on.
There you go.
You made the right
There
choice.
you
See what's
go.
I see what's going on here.
There you go. It's a psychological effect.
Yeah.
So Eric, what else? You have anything else on your list, on your agenda?
Well, the show's supposed to end at 10, so we're 11 minutes over. So I guess we can do closing remarks. Because like I said, I have more questions, but I guess it could be postponed to the next time we meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back
Alright,
next
okay,
week.
that's-
Great. Yo, they deleted my Facebook page, so this is like Facebook to me right now. You know what I mean?
Really?
They deleted your page?
Just deleted my page. I don't even know why they just took it.
No,
Well, you
I
know
know
what?
why they did it.
Why?
Yeah.
Father's Day post?
No, but I'll tell you that, Dwayne, they do that to me a lot. No, I have to be careful or use abbreviation. Anytime, no, plus you on there and you give good information. Anytime we give viable information, because I look at the people who do trash on there, they never delete their page.
Yeah, you know what?
They-
My brother told me the
cra-
same thing. He says because you're actually doing something good.
Yes.
They don't like that.
Correct. They don't like that. Sometimes they kick me off and I can't even do my Zoom to Facebook. So that's why I have it here and I streamline it to Zoom. That way, if they kick me off of it, too bad. I still have my Zoom. They can't take that away from me.
Yeah, they took my page,
But yeah,
page, everything.
yeah.
And your business page?
They took everything. They took all my groups, my business page, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know what? And that's why I said to people, they use Facebook as their website. You have to have a way to get your people's information. Yeah.
That's why I got an email list.
Correct. You're right. So you got that. Yeah. And even if you do a 2-page website, so they can just contact you, you have your people go there.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know they did that to my feed. It's funny. They deleted my group, my email, my page, but they left my group. So I know the group is coming next.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get it, man.
Yeah. Facebook is wicked, especially when it comes to us. They don't like the knowledge. They don't want us to put out knowledge.
Yeah,
They like the ignorant version of us.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I don't. Only thing I have on Facebook is my business. I don't have my personal stuff on there.
Yeah. And you have enough followers, they'll get rid of you. But that's
Wow.
Facebook. I know they hear me now. They probably block me tomorrow.
Well, there's always a different forum, and eventually that will take care of itself. Unfortunately, it take a minute, as they say, but
Yeah.
FYI, Bev, I'll discuss this with you, but I'm planning on starting a literacy program for when we move our office in the fall to
Okay.
for children and adolescents.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, so we are approaching our time. Dwayne, thank you so much for being my guest,
Yes. Thank you for having me.
and I hope you return. This is
Yeah.
fun.
I gotta come back. You guys gotta let me know when y'all doing this, because this was fun.
I do it
Very
every two.
exciting.
I do it every 2 weeks.
Yeah, we gotta
And-
make sure y'all shoot me a text message, because I almost missed this tonight. This was exciting.
Oh.
We
No,
figured,
but- and that's the thing is-
that you was doing something late with your business. That's why I ain't like hit you up.
No,
Right.
I was actually about to walk out the door and play soccer, then I got the notification on my phone, and I'm like, that's tonight? And that's why I text you, like, hey, what's up? What we doing?
Oh,
And I
okay.
didn't know.
Okay, so right, next time you just get the reminder. Yeah, no, I do this every 2 weeks. Just different topics that deal with our lives,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
great.
and as usual, I appreciate everyone on here. Without you, there's no me, us. So next time, everybody invite one, each one bring one, so we can grow.
Oh yeah.
Got you.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Right.
This
All
guy
right.
didn't say
So
nothing all
good
night.
night.
Michael didn't
I'm
say
sorry?
nothing all night. All Michael did was smile. Y'all let Michael get away with that?
No, I speak.
See, he just said words. Look like so. I didn't know when to talk.
Sometimes he does. Sometimes he gets it in there.
Yeah.
Hey, well, no problem, sir. He was like, nah, he took this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Good
night.
Jill, thank you for your contribution, and we appreciate you.
Night, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
Good night.